The topic which I will be talking about is pseudo feminism, but first we should understand what feminism means. Feminism means a million things to a million people, but we are not in the business of defining the exact terms of anyone else's feminism. But we do want to clarify the basics. Quite simply, feminism is all about genders having equal rights and opportunities. It doesn't mean that feminists don't support a woman's right to have a career and a family without being seen as selfish, or a man's right to stay at home and raise his children without being seen as lazy or incompetent. Feminism means supporting rape victims of any gender. It means that same sex couples deserve the ability to get married. It means that transgender individuals deserve the acceptance and accommodations they need. But pseudo-feminism suggests that women deserve more respect or people of other sexes do not deserve respect. On social media, hardly anyone knows about feminism and they end up being pseudo-feminist. These pseudo-feminists do not want equality for all genders, but instead they want to create a world governed only by women. Women on social media who identify themselves as feminists want equality and recognition for women they think deserve it. Pseudo-feminism relates to women's supremacy and man's hatred. It's not about equality but revenge for the abuse that women face at the hands of society. These pseudo-feminists find ways to make men look bad, depicting themselves as suspects, and if nothing works according to their choices, then they start playing the victim cards. Let me give a few examples to explain you about how these pseudo-feminists can go to any extent to prove that they are correct. An Instagram influencer named Hitesha had posted a video in which she told that she had ordered food from Zomato at 3:30 am in the morning, but the delivery boy was late, so she demanded to have a free delivery. She told the delivery boy to leave and took the delivery herself. But when she was about to shut the door, the delivery boy came inside. But the delivery boy came inside the house, got his delivery back, and punched her on her face so that she couldn't catch him. But because of this incident, this influencer gained a lot of sympathy. People, without even knowing the whole story, accused the delivery boy. But what the delivery boy said was very different from her. He said that he had apologized for being late and he had never punched her on her face. He said that she was only hitting him. He just tried to block her using his hands. But when she tried to push his hands away, a ring on her finger hit her nose. This shows how Hitesha was only using victim card to destroy the image of a normal delivery boy who was only doing his work. But just because he was late, she didn't get free delivery. She accused him of hitting her. This is a clear example of pseudo feminism. Another such example is of a cab driver and a lady named Priyadarshini. Few days ago in Lucknow, this lady slapped a cab driver 22 times on the main road just because she thought that he could have hit her. The traffic police vanished from the spot. She also slapped the only person who came in his support. She even broke his rear view mirror and destroyed his phone. After doing all this, she also shamelessly took all his money. Even after all of this, he didn't even hit her back or did anything because he knew that if he does anything, the whole crowd will come to beat him. In order to prove that she is not wrong, she made fake accusations on him. This shows how these pseudo-feminists can never be apologetic for anything. I hope now we got to know a lot about pseudo-feminism. Thank you.
Being healthy is a real beauty. Not taking good care of your body is like not watering a plant on a hot sunny day. Our body needs nutrients like plants, and our bodies need rest. If we are going to abuse it, then our own body will be frail and it will be exposed to sickness. That is why taking good care of our bodies is important. Looks can be deceiving. Being fit does not necessarily mean that they're beautiful. It is all about how you see yourself, irrespective of your body size. You are beautiful inside and out as long as you take good care of yourself in your own way, and as long as you do not expose yourself to sickness. We are in a judgmental society that most people never take in consideration how other people would feel from the hateful comments about their physical appearances. Being skinny or fat shows a lack of self discipline and an unhealthy lifestyle. Scientifically speaking, these are people with a fast and slow metabolism, which make them skinny or fat. People differ in body structures, hormones, and genes, which greatly affect how they look. Some people can eat a lot without being fat because of their fast metabolism, while others do much effort to control their diet but still gain weight because of their slow metabolism. Being healthy is a real beauty. Not taking good care of your body is like not watering a plant on a hot sunny day. Our body needs nutrients like plants, and our bodies need rest. If we are going to abuse it, then our own body will be frail and it will be exposed to sickness. That is why taking good care of our bodies is important. Looks can be deceiving. Being fit does not necessarily mean that they're beautiful. It is all about how you see yourself, irrespective of your body size. You are beautiful inside and out as long as you take good care of yourself in your own way, and as long as you do not expose yourself to sickness. We are in a judgmental society that most people never take in consideration how other people would feel from the hateful comments about their physical appearances. Being skinny or fat shows a lack of self-discipline and an unhealthy lifestyle. Scientifically speaking, these are people with a fast and slow metabolism, which make them skinny or fat. People differ in body structures, hormones, and genes, which greatly affect how they look. Some people can eat a lot without being fat because of their fast metabolism, while others do much effort to control their diet but still gain weight because of their slow metabolism. All body types are beautiful. Being healthy is a real beauty. The beauty of a person comes from within, and it is also the attitude that defines beauty. Being yourself is important. Be proud of the gift that the Almighty God gave you. Do not let other people and society dictate your perspective on yourself. You know yourself better than others. You know that you're beautiful. Confidence is the key to life. Being confident in what you are and being yourself always is beauty itself. Thank you.
This pandemic has taken a toll on our emotional and mental well-being. During such trying times, art can be a savior to remind us of our interconnectedness and our inner selves. Art therapy, a technique rooted in the idea that creative expression can foster healing and mental well-being. The idea that your journey is more important than your destination. A powerful medium to express feelings, emotions, and communicate where words fall short. Art therapy is not just about creating art, it's about expressing yourself and letting go of your negative emotion through a healthy, intuitive, and a therapeutic outlet. It's not a test of creativity because the focus lies on the process rather than the outcome. It's a tool to express emotions that lie buried deep within our subconscious and unconscious minds and used to improve cognitive and sensory motor functions, foster self-esteem and self-awareness, cultivate emotional resilience, promote insight, enhance social skills, reduce and resolve conflicts and distress, and advance societal and ecological change. There are several kinds of art therapies like painting, photography, digital art, sculpting, working with clay, drawing, and color therapy, and each use a unique way to help those suffering from any distress or disorder. Art therapy is about letting the person be and express without any rules, boundaries, or techniques. The idea is to connect with every scribble, every stroke, every line, because all of it has a meaning and message from the subconscious. The American Art Therapy Association recognized this creative approach as a therapeutic way to deal with mental illness. Art is an escape in many ways. The moment in which we experience anxiety, for instance, is that moment, instead of restoring to dealing with it in many ways that may be determined to you and your loved ones, we have art therapy. Of course, empirical evidence lacks the direct benefits of art therapy to one's emotional state. However, Evidence does support that it has been widely accepted and used around the world to not only treat but also help people who suffer from emotional distress. This is a quick and convenient way to connect with and express oneself. It helps soothe the nervous system and leaves you feeling more upbeat. It has an exceptional effect on self esteem that can brighten your day at work or even at home. Thank you.
Since the release of the first novel, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, on 26 June 1997, the books have found immense popularity, positive reviews, and commercial success worldwide. They have attracted a wide adult audience as well as younger readers and are often considered cornerstones of modern young adult literature. As of February 2018, the books have sold more than 500 million copies worldwide, making them the best-selling book series in the history, and have been translated into 80 languages. The last 4 books consecutively set records as the fastest-selling books in history, with the final installment selling roughly 11 million copies in the United States within 24 hours of its release. A series of many genres including fantasy, drama, coming of age, and the British school story, which includes elements of mystery, thriller, adventure, horror, and romance. The world of Harry Potter explores numerous themes and includes many cultural meanings and references. According to Rowling, the main theme is death. Other major themes in the series include prejudice, corruption, and madness.
LGBT. The history of LGBT goes back to the dawn of humans, and there have been many important heroic LGBT people in the history of the world, and many that have been persecuted. Second World War hero Alan Turing broke the German secret code, which was thought to be unbreakable. The computer scientist was the father of the modern computer and saved tens of thousands of lives. Ancient Gay committed suicide after being convicted of homosexual acts. These were still illegal in 1945. There are still countries that punish the LGBTQ community in the name of religion or tradition. The question remains in the face of discrimination. Why do some communities find it hard to accept the LGBTQ relationships more than others? To some, their opposition is more of a matter of faith. As for others, they view these type of relationships or lifestyle as abnormal. Nature is full with examples of such animals, from swans to dolphins. It would be only logical that if these cases exist in the animal world, the same phenomena would happen in the human race. There is no choice in gay preference. A person does not choose to be gay or straight. This brings us back to the question of our sexual preferences and whether it is time that as a society we stop discriminating against others as a result of these preferences. Who are we to deny the LGBTQ society the right to happiness? After all, under the skin, bone and muscle, we all are the same. And there is no reason for us to deny others the same freedom and right everyone else enjoys. Can you imagine having your choices being monitored round the clock or being discriminated against? It is time that the world awoke and held the
Education. According to Bacon, reading a full man, writing an exact man, and conference a ready man. And if someone asks what reading, writing, and conference make together, anyone would say that all of them stand for education. In other words, we can say that education makes anyone complete, accurate, and worldly wise. It means that no one is complete without education. Thus, we can confidently say that education is necessary and it is all-round development of personality of a human being. He cannot hope for a success, fame, name, and prosperity in life without it. Even a nation would be devoid of a progress. H.L. Whelan has correctly said that universal suffrage without universal education would be a cure for the success of any democracy. Education is must. Imagine a country with illiterate minister voted to power by illiterate people. Unfortunately, there are many people who downgrade the value of education and say that it has never benefited. But it is not trade, industry, agriculture have become so complex that no one take up job without being educated. Educated man will never find himself stranded in the midst of the difficulty. His brain developed by serious thinking and will unfailingly arrive at some solution to the problem that besets him. This is what education prepares us for, and most of all, education gives us not only the mental but also physical strength necessary to face all the challenges. Thank you.
Greetings. I am Aisha Imam, roll number 52 of 11 Science, and today I am going to display a presentation on the topic social media. Social media are interactive technologies that help in the creation and sharing of information, ideas, and career interests through virtual communities and networks. Out of 7.82 billion people in the world, 50.64% of the population use social networks regardless of age or internet access, and out of 4.57 billion internet users, 83.36% are active users. It has become the basis of connecting people and has become a necessity to be considered up to date and social. With the eruption of social networks, a lot of things have become easier. Small businesses are flourishing. People can talk to each other miles away, sit at their homes and learn online, and also create content they love. Although it has helped a lot of people around the globe, it has its limitations. It is now being used as a source to hurt, infringe, and spread false information. Inappropriate content, circulation of private information, and cybercrimes are being done to earn money. Moreover, social media has become so common among the youth that it has become a sort of addiction that they can't live without. According to the Times of India, 37% of 10-year-olds use Facebook while 24% are on Instagram. According to a survey conducted in February 2021, nearly half of the respondents stated that on an average they spent 5 to 6 hours on their phones on a daily basis, which is not related to work. We have bound ourselves to a screen and have limited social interaction. I believe that it is crucial that we realize the wrongs of social media and create a safe space for people to see the good in life.
Feminism, a relic of history or a need? To answer this question, we first need to understand the true essence of feminism. So, what really is feminism? Feminism is a political and intellectual movement that started in the late 1900s and aimed at seeking equal rights and opportunities for women in economic, legal, and political arenas. The concept of equality has been a tumultuous affair in an age of progressive developments. The revisionist, if not the reactionary, need the essential support of the modern liberal society we claim to have conditioned all along. Oxford Dictionary defines feminism as advocacy of equality of the sexes and establishment of the political, social, and economic rights of the female sex. But feminism is much wider than what various dictionaries define it as. It is quite difficult to trace the roots of feminism. While some say that the roots are buried in ancient Greece, most of them, while discussing the origin of feminism, identify the movement with the three waves of feminism. The first wave, the issue of property and voting rights for women, first came into the picture during the French and American Revolution in the late 18th century. The first wave was mostly restricted to achieving suffrage and property rights for women in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It was realized that in order to bring about a change for themselves, it was important to gain political power first. In 1893, New Zealand became the first nation to give voting rights to women. The second wave took a few leaps forward and sought to achieve gender equality and put an end to sexism in all forms. The liberation movement started in the 1960s and aimed at achieving legal and social rights for women. It introduced ideas and actions related to inequality and discrimination that were being faced by women. The second wave slogan, "The Personal is Political," identified women's cultural and political inequalities, and it is as inextricably linked and encouraged women to understand how their political lives reflected sexist power structures. Literature on feminism was written and read by women, one of them being Betty Friedan, who is also known as the mother of all feminists. Her famous writings include "It Changed My Life," writings on the women's movement, "The Second Stage," and "The Fountain of Age," but the most important of her works are considered to be "The Feminine Mystique," written in 1963. She coined the term feminine mystique to describe the societal assumption that women would find fulfillment through housework, marriage, sexual passivity, and child rearing alone. The second wave feminism focused mainly on issues such as reproductive rights, workplace equality, and economic rights. The second wave was increasingly theoretical, based on a fusion of neo-Marxism and psychoanalytical theory, and began to associate the subjugation of women with broader critiques of patriarchy, capitalism, normative heterosexuality, and the women's role as a wife and mother. Third wave. The third wave of feminism began in the 1990s, and its origin is credited to the emergence of riot girl punk subculture in Washington and the Anita Hill case in 1991. Anita Hill testified of being sexually harassed by Clarence Thomas, a Supreme Court nominee at work. Clarence Thomas was sent to the Supreme Court, but a discussion was sparked on a national level about the overrepresentation of men. The following year, 1992, would be dubbed as the Year of Women, after 24 women won seats in the House of Representatives and 3 more won seats in the Senate. The fourth wave. The fourth wave is believed to be originated in 2012, when the interest in feminism sparked again on the internet. According to Kira Cochrane, a British journalist and writer, the fourth wave is defined by technology. Women have taken their concerns to social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, etc. It not only provides them with a safe space to express themselves, but also encourages other women to open up to the world. The fourth wavers, through their hashtag activism, have successfully launched online movements. These movements include Everyday Sexism Project, Yes All Women, the 2018 Women's March, and the Me Too movement. Now, after discussing the various waves of feminism, the question still remains: why do we still need feminism? Well, feminism is needed today more than ever. It is needed today not just to achieve equality of genders, but also gender equity. The Women, Business and the Law report by the World Bank found out that gender discrimination still existed in 187 countries. According to WFP Gender Policy and Strategy, gender inequality is a major cause and effect of hunger and poverty. It is estimated that 60% of chronically hungry people are women and girls. Conclusion. Feminism has considerably contributed to the societal change and upliftment of women. It has helped women secure property and suffrage rights. It has also been instrumental in bringing important issues to the table, such as education, reproductive rights, and physical autonomy. If it weren't for the past movements, the world would have been in shambles and women in chains. The world still needs feminism and will continue to need it until the gap disappears from numbers as well as from our society and mindsets. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The name of my content is literature. It's in literature that true life can be found. It's under the mask of fiction that you can tell the truth, said Yao Jiang. Thus, literature gives valuable insight to the true and hard facts of life, which we can easily relate to. It inculcates virtues and the part of reasoning, for in the words of Francis Bacon, read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted, not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. The word literature comes from the word letters, because of which learned men are referred to as men of letters.
Since time immemorial, great literary work like the Vedas, the Ramayana, the Gita, the Bible, and the Quran have spread the light of truth and wisdom in the world. The spell they cast on the reader is both moral and philosophical, and has a part to mold the life and destiny of the reader. The literary works of great authors have influenced me immensely. The Bhagavad Gita and the Ramayana are all masterpieces of art and unfold the truth of life and death, making me reverent yet fearless. In addition to them, the great classics written by William Shakespeare, Rabindranath Tagore, and Munshi Premchand have bequeathed to me a wealth of knowledge on such aspects as friendship, virtues, honesty, and life itself. Not only has it made me confident and knowledgeable, but also more intrepid. Adversity does not scare me any longer, for I know sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel on his head. Nor does death frighten me, for what is born, death is certain, and for the dead, birth is certain. Therefore, grieve not over what is unavoidable. Advice given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. On the whole, it has helped me become a better human being and transformed my personality. I now have valuable insight of the good things of life and also its negative aspects. I am well aware that reading of literature is a continuous education process, the journey of which I have just begun. There is nothing more satisfying to me than to be in the company of a good book. For I know that some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. Undoubtedly, literary works of great authors impacted my life profoundly. Their inspiring thoughts, besides broadening my vision, also made me more worldly wise and added a new dimension to my personality. Thank you so much.
16th April 2021 marked the 70th anniversary of the Seoul ferry tragedy, a horrible disaster that caused eternal grief to the people of South Korea, a painful memory which remains embedded in everyone's mind till date. The sinking of MV Seoul, also called the Seoul ferry disaster, occurred on the morning of 16 April 2014 when the ferry MV Seoul was en route from Incheon towards Jeju in South Korea. When Seoul departed, she was carrying 443 passengers, 33 crew members, and a total of 2,142.7 tons of cargo, including 185 cars. 325 of the passengers were students on field trip from Dunman High School, and 5 passengers were of non-Korean nationality. The ship was commanded by Captain Lee Chun-sok, who had been brought as a replacement for the regular captain. Later investigations discovered problems concerning the state of Seoul at the time of her departure. Seoul was carrying twice the maximum allowance of cargo, and that too had been improperly secured. Only 761.2 tons of ballast were taken on board, which made the vessel highly unbalanced. The cheating at every level created a perfect storm. When the Seoul made a sharp turn while fighting a strong current, the badly balanced ferry began to kneel over. The poorly secured cargo started sliding across the decks, forcing the ferry further onto its side. The ship soon capsized and more than 300 people were killed. Only 127 passengers made it off alive. While the ship was still sinking, the American and Japanese Navy offered help, which was refused by the authorities in Pride and Eagle. The local media aired news of everyone being rescued, which was proven false few hours later. The captain kept giving orders for the students to stay in their cabins while himself abandoned the ship secretly with his crew members. Few students who didn't follow the instructions managed to survive, whereas the others went down with the Seoul. The government delayed for days in taking proper rescue measures. The people who made it out alive were saved by the locals with no help from the authorities. All South Koreans could do was watch heartbroken the desperate videos from students sending last messages to their families as school waves filled the ship. Mom, Dad, I love you, when boys sitting in the video recovered from the phone. Days later, when people demanded an investigation of the tragedy, the government tried to cover up their mistakes and kept delaying the matter. When South Korean music artists like BTS supported a call for an investigation and helped the families of the victims through donations, the government threatened to blacklist them. However, BTS didn't step back and kept supporting the protest and even made a song called Spring Day, which was entirely dedicated to the students who lost their lives and the friends who had survived.
말하니까 더 보고 싶다. 너의 사진을 보고 있어도 보고 싶다. 너무 약속한 시간 나는 우리 겁니다. 이제 얼굴 한번 보는 것조차 힘들어진 우리가.
여긴 온통 겨울뿐이야. 8월에도 겨울이 와. 마음은 시간에 달려가네. 홀로 남은 설국 열차. 네 손잡고 지구 반대편까지 가. 겨울을 끝내봐. 그리움들이 얼마나 눈치를 내려야 그 봄날이 올까.
덩글 떠드는 자기 먼지처럼 자기 먼지처럼 날리는 눈이 나라면 조금 더 빨리 내 곁에 수 있을 텐데. 난 꽃이 떨어져요. 또 조금씩 멀어져요. 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다. 얼마나 기다려야 또 몇 밤을 더 세워야 널 보게 될까. 널 보게 될까. 만나게 될까. 만나게 될까. 숨겨온 끝을 지나 다시 봄날이 올 때까지 꽃이 올 때까지 그곳에 좀 더 머물러서
네가 변한 건지 아니면 내가 변한 건지 이 순간 흐르는 시간조차 미워. 우리가 변한 거지 뭐 모두가 그런 거지 뭐. 그래 늙다 네가 넌 떠났지만 단 하루도 널 잊은 적이 없었지. 나 솔직히 보고 싶은데 이만 너를 지울게. 그게 널 원망하기보단 덜 아프니.
이날 풀어내본다. 연기처럼 하얀 연기처럼 말로는 지운다 해도 사실 난 아직 날 보내지 못하는데. 난 꽃이 떨어져요. 또 조금씩 멀어져요. 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다. 얼마나 기다려야 또 몇 밤을 더 세워야 널 보게 될까. 널 보게 될까. 만나게 될까. 만나게 될까. 너 위로 my best friend. 아침은 다시 올 거야. 어떤 어둠도 어떤 계절도 영원할 순 없을 넌제이나 봐요. 이 겨울도 끝이 나요. 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다 보고 싶다. 조금만 기다리면 며칠 밤만 더 세우면 만나러 갈게. 만나러 갈게. 데리러 갈게. 데리러 갈게. 숨겨온 끝을 지나 다시 봄날이 올 때까지 꽃이 올 때까지 그곳에 좀 더 머물러서
Hey, take these couple of minutes to sit down and listen. Life, isn't it funny? Maybe we all are characters of a book and somebody is writing us, making our flaws and imperfections, making us a human. Or maybe it's what Shakespeare said. As the different stages arrive, we are left in a turmoil of newness and discovery. Teenage. Teenage was the turning point of my life. If I could meet my younger self, I might as well tell her these things which I learned over the years. Your flaws are actually much smaller than you think. In the world full of fakeness and insecurities, learn to love yourself. People who make fun of you, people who doubt you, people who break your heart are the same people who will help you grow in life. Use it as a motivation. You don't have to win every argument. Agree to disagree. No one is in charge of your happiness except you. Make peace with the past so it won't screw your future. However good or bad a situation is, it will change. Change is constant. Frame every so-called disaster with these words. In 5 years, will this matter? Life is too short to waste time hating anyone. Time heals everything. Give time, time. A writer writes. If you want to be a writer, write. Dear younger self, I'm so proud of you. Even when the world felt like crumbling down and a lost path, you never gave up. Instead, you became stronger and made me who I am today. The same little girl with a better insight and a powerful vision for life. Thank you so much.
Good morning. The name of my topic is social commerce. Social commerce is the buying and selling of goods or services directly within a social media platform. This model moves social media beyond its traditional role in the discovery process by encouraging users to complete the entire purchase process without leaving their preferred apps. After all, why is social commerce important? Social commerce is important because it encourages people to connect with a business through two-way communication. This allows customers to not only engage with your business, but it also gives them an opportunity to use social media as an efficient customer service channel where it's possible to solve their problems. What are the types of social commerce? To conclude, 7 different types of social commerce are as follows: user review, websites, group buying, and daily deals. Social network driven sales, participatory commerce, picklist sites, platforms for peer to peer sales are a cause of social shopping. Is social commerce is a part of e-commerce? Social commerce is the subset of electronic commerce that involves social media and online media that supports social interaction and user a contribution to assist online buying and selling of products.
We are not finished discussing our menstruation, telling stories of our menstruation, elevating our menstruation. We have not even started yet. These words by Nikki Tajiri explain the condition of menstruation in today's world very well. It is the 21st century, an era of strong dialogues of women empowerment and smashing patriarchy. But menstruation still remains a huge taboo in our society. To know more about this taboo, we asked a few ladies and teenagers about the stigmas and superstitions they had to face and are facing during their periods.
इस समय महिलाओं को मंदिर में जाना मना होता है और घर के कई जगहों पे जाना मना होता है, जैसे कि रसोई में। और फिर घर में मम्मी और दादी समझाती है कि घर के किसी कोने में रहो और फिर लोगों से दूरी बना के रहो। और इस समय हमें स्कूल जाना भी मना हो जाता था और इससे हमारी पढ़ाई भी रुक जाती थी और क्या कहा जाए, बिस्तर पे भी सोने को नहीं मिलता था, जिससे हमें जमीन पे सोना पड़ता था।
सब ऐसा व्यवहार करते थे मानो जैसे मुझे कोई संक्रामक बीमारी लगी हो। उन 4-5 दिनों में मैं कई बार सोचती थी कि मैंने ऐसा क्या गुनाह कर दिया, क्या पाप कर दिया जो सभी लोग मुझे अपवित्र और अछूत मानते हैं।
घर से बाहर निकलना मना था, जिसके कारण हर महीने हम 5-6 दिन स्कूल नहीं जा पाते थे। इससे हमारी पढ़ाई में काफ़ी नुकसान होता था और हम अक्सर पीछे रह जाते थे।
Since the time I started my menstruation, I was always told not to discuss these things in public or in front of anyone, especially with males, including those of my own family too. This made me believe that menstruation is embarrassing and one should be ashamed of it.
I am still not allowed to go to temples or puja room during my periods. It is prohibited to touch the jars of pickles during that time because the older ladies at my home, including my mom, thinks that it will go bad if I do so.
Obviously, I used to go to school during my periods, but whenever they arrive while I'm in school, the situation really becomes awkward. That period stain on my skirt or taking out a pad from my bag was so embarrassing and shameful, especially in front of boys. They used to bully us, laugh at us for this.
By analyzing all the answers, we come to know that times changed, the way of living changed, even the thinking of people changed. But the stigma around menstruation remains the same. Women still have to fight to live with dignity in the society. Every day, girls around the world experience their first menstruation cycle, and they have to suffer the same pain, the same shame and embarrassment, and the same negativity that once their mothers and grandmothers had suffered. This can only be stopped by spreading awareness and educating people about menstruation and its correct machinery. Most importantly, girls and women should understand that menstruation is not a curse, rather a gift, a blessing of God, which enables them to create life and thus equalizes them with nature. Therefore, every girl and every woman should be proud of her menstruation and break all the taboos created by the society and shed the stereotype regarding periods.
Hello everyone, this is Kirti Raj. I am going to take interview of one of the faculty members of Bihar Police Academy, Rajgir. He is Mr. Nirmal Kumar, Inspector of Police. So let's go. Good evening, sir.
Very good evening to you.
Sir, please tell us about the Bihar Police Academy.
Bihar Police Academy has been brought up under the guidelines of Bureau of Police Research and Development, New Delhi. Bihar Police Academy is in Rajgir, northern side of Rajgir Hills. We have a very good hilly view throughout the year here in Academy.
Sir, will you please throw some light on the daily schedule of the trainees in the academy?
The schedule for the trainees in Bihar Police Academy is very hectic as well as very academic also. We have academic tours. The daily schedule starts with morning tea. In the morning, we have PT, we have yoga, we have horse riding. These two are followed by the outdoor classes and parade. Parade with the arms, with different arms. And after breakfast, we have indoor classes. Altogether, we have 6 indoor classes. All are of legal papers, law papers. And after lunch, in the afternoon, we have again 2 classes, practical classes. It is followed by games at 6 o'clock. And after that, 7:15 to 9:15 we have self-study period.
Sir, so what are the qualities you ought to have to be a police officer?
The qualities that we are looking for is the boy must be, or the aspirant must be self-expressive. Whatever what he wants to say, he should be able to express himself very straightforward. Second quality is the courage. He should have the courage enough to take the task, take the responsibility. He should have the courage to initiate the task or initiate the discussion, initiate the whatever the time it comes. And the most important is he must be disciplined. He must have all the qualities of a leadership quality, and he should be kind and inbuilt forgiveness quality.
Sir, I am curious to know that how do you train them?
The trainees at Bihar Police Academy are being trained at three levels: physically, mentally, and academically. While we say the mentally, we are imparting them social and cultural activities and meditation classes. Physically, everyone knows we have a PT, parade, yoga, and other outdoor activities like swimming, diving, horse riding, running, jungle walk, long patrolling, arms and ammunition exercises with the different arms, firing, firing in different positions, in different conditions. And we have academic, the law papers, the crime control with the computers. We have library, we have forensic science center also, lab with the equipped with the equipments and the scientists in academy.
Thank you so much, sir, for letting me know about the Bihar Police Academy in a fixed time period of 2 to 3 minutes. May BPA go a very long way and achieve glory. Wish you good luck, sir.
Thanks. Wish you a long success, very high success, and a good health. Be cheerful, be stay safe, and be happy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Greek mythology, with the possible exception of Vedic Hindu religion of India, produced the most complex and sophisticated mythology in the world. Unlike most mythologies, where gods and goddesses are mostly supposed to be unquestionably good and idealistic, Greek gods are depicted more human by giving them weaknesses of human such as jealousy, envy, spite, etc. Greek mythology is vast to say at least. There are several versions of the same myths. Greek mythology was initially spread through oral traditions in forms of poems and songs. Homer's works, Iliad and Odyssey were first writings. The epics mainly revolved around 12 deities who were said to live on Mount Olympus, giving them the name Olympians. These gods and goddesses oversaw every aspect of human life. Foremost was Zeus, the sky god and the king of all gods, who wielded the lightning. Hades and Poseidon reigned over underworld and the sea respectively. Hades, the god of the dead, resided in the underworld with his wife Persephone, the goddess of spring. Hera, Zeus' wife, was the queen of God, goddess of women, marriage, family, and childbirth. Wise Athena, the patron goddess of Athens, goddess of war strategy and wisdom, who typically appeared in full armor with her aegis. The owl and olive tree were sacred to her. The youthful Apollo, the god of music, poetry, archery, healing, dance, the sun and dance, poetry and more. Apollo's twin sister, Artemis, patroness of hunting,
goddess of wild animals, was fair Hermes. With his winged sandals and elaborate herald staff, was the messenger of the gods. He was the god of travelers, thieves, trade, and luck. Other deities were Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, who was said to be even older than Zeus, Ares, the god of war, and at last Hephaestus, the god of fire and craftsmanship. The influences of Greek mythology in today's world are vast, from the constellations, the planet names, zodiac signs, even Amazon, one of the biggest known brands, derives its name from Amazons, a race of fierce female warriors. In Greek mythology, Nike, the goddess of victory, is the inspiration for the sports brand Nike. One of the biggest contributions of Greek mythology is the long-standing tradition of Olympics. They originally began in the year 776 BC in honor of Zeus. The everlasting legends of Greek will continue to contribute to the society in the future as well. One just has to look a little closer to unravel the rich history behind the things they see in day-to-day life.
Good morning. The name of my topic is Mother. The only unconditional love in the world is mother's love. My mother is my inspiration, my superhero, my best friend, and my guiding light. My life would not have been beautiful without my mother. Through ups and downs and in every step of life, she holds my hand and supports me and encourages me. No matter what happens, my mother is always there beside me, cheering me up and motivating me. All mothers in the world are great, and so we should not celebrate their contribution in our life on Mother's Day only, which is on 10th of May, but every day of the year and throughout their life. It is because no gesture of appreciation is ever enough when it comes to acknowledging a mom. Her selfless love and sacrifice are the precious of all gifts under the sun. My mother, the multitasker. The way she manages my family with utter dedication and devotion is inspiring. The relationship with my mom is something very hard to explain. I do not merely love her because she is my mom and we should respect our elders. I love her because she is my world, and when I was unable to speak and communicate, she took care of my time and time again. The best part about my mom is that even though I have grown older, she knows that and understands my needs without my speaking a word. I learned kindness and love from her. She taught me no matter how bad a situation might, get only love and improve it in the most effective way. She has been the rock solid pillar of my life and in every big moment of my life. Thank you.
Feminism. Feminism means working towards achieving global gender equality. Everyone is born equal regardless of gender, race, or sexuality. However, there are so many aspects of life in which people are not treated equally, that is, politically, economically, legally, and socially. Feminism is about working against the systems built to keep certain groups of people oppressed and striving towards equality for everyone. It means fighting for intersectionality and acknowledging how race, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status affects feminism. It means having civil conversation with people I fundamentally disagree with to try and advocate change. It means taking a meaningful stance on injustices and standing up for inequalities, even if I'm the only one standing. Being a feminist means that you fight for the equality of all people. It's important that your feminism is intersectional. It should not exclude people based on their gender, race, socioeconomic status, ability, or sexual orientation. Feminism allows people to look at the world not as it is, but how it could be. It shines light on the problems. Thank you.
Success. Now, the question arises, what is success? Success is the status of having achieved and accomplished an aim or objective. Being successful means the achievement of desired vision and planned goals. For attaining success in life, we have to have four unique tools. First, to set a goal. Second, to acquire knowledge continuously. Third, hard work with devotion. And fourth, perseverance. Success can be illusioned as an iceberg. Every one of us can see only the outcome of person's action and most of their accomplishments, whereas efforts that were necessary to achieve such an outcome remain hidden and unnoticed. The achievement and accomplishment of persons often make people around blind, and they think that it's very easy to achieve, unaware of the fact that what all effort they have to put in to achieve it. For accomplishing something, the most important thing is to have belief in oneself that I can do it. Virat Kohli rightly said that self-belief and hard work will always earn you success. In the path of achieving our set goal, the most common hindrance that one faces is failure, which causes depression, frustration, and loss of confidence. But one should realize that you are not a failure, and you need to quit telling yourself that you could have avoided failing, because no successful person ever avoids the pain in hopes for the gain. John C. Maxwell rightly said, there is no success without failure and losses. To become a successful person, the most important thing is to overcome your failure and always think of the present. John C. Maxwell rightly said, the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. There are many successful personalities in every field who are an epitome of hard work, like MS Dhoni, Neeraj Chopra, and PV Sindhu in the field of sports, Shah Rukh Khan, Amitabh Bachchan in the field of acting, and many more who have proved that with hard work anything is possible.
Did you ever had a situation in your life where you are rushing certain tasks, documents at work, or a school project? Under such circumstances, you sometimes utter words without a second thought. Words like, I'm going crazy, I'm having a panic attack. Such casual remarks seem empty to others, but to those who are suffering from mental illness, it is a different matter. Many people do not understand what it feels like to have a mental disorder. And believe me, when I say that ignorance and the stigma to not talk about it, it won't make it go away. There are many more mental illness than you can possibly remember at. Most common ones being anxiety disorders, mood disorders, psychotic disorders, dementia, and eating disorders. Living with a mental illness is not easy.
You don't have control. Mental illness feels like you're losing control of you. You don't know who you truly are because this disease controls you. It takes over your emotions. It lies to you, tells you that you are worthless. You wonder if things you do are your personality or your disease. You can't move on. Mental illness feels like a crushing stone on the chest, making it hard to breathe. It makes you feel trapped, not being able to stop the flood of past memories or the continual cycle over your head of the conversations you've recently had. It makes you hopeless, alone, scared of yourself. You don't know who is the real you. Mental illness is faking a smile so others around you don't know. It's forcing yourself to get out of bed in the morning because if you don't, your anxiety will kick in. It's hating to be alone, but not having the energy to hang out with others. It is having plain exhaustion, but being unable to sleep. You try hard to be normal. When you are living with a mental illness, you can still be a normal functioning person, but fighting a constant battle inside yourself. When every single step you take feels like you're wearing concrete boots because your mind is putting up so many mental roadblocks. Day-to-day activities are done, but your mind is still telling you every little possible thing that could go wrong. Negativity, frustration, fear all rule inside your inner thoughts. Feeling like you're not good enough, yet you know you are. Feeling like you're not doing enough, yet you are doing too much. It's a constant battle inside yourself. It's the mentally ill who truly understand how long is the increment time is between the seconds when your jaw is clenched so tight your molars could crack, and the term white knuckling applies to the entire body when you force your external cells to adequately function despite the fact that your inner world is nothing short of utter anarchy. It is all out war, fought every second, every minute, every hour, every single day. So, we need to understand. We need to just pay attention to what kind of emotional responses to give someone who is in a mental breakdown or freaking out. Hold their hand and tell them they're safe and everything will be okay. We need to stop calling them out on being lazy. Getting out of bed every morning isn't hard. Being lazy isn't really them being lazy at all. No one wishes to be that way, but depression has funny ways of pressing one down. Don't judge someone unless you know how they feel. Why someone has very recent self-harm scars and a history with self-harm. People see it as a teenage thing, but it's not. It's not an effective coping mechanism, but they are trying to, and it's a really hard thing to explain. They are not making it up because not all are strong like you are. So don't constantly tell them things like don't beat yourself up. That's nothing to because sharing is hard when certain people can't understand what it's like to be in your shoes. Others will judge them because of how minimal these problems seem to be. Little do they know that these small problems are much bigger for some people. Just imagine, you find yourself constantly trying to think of ways to explain what it's like to have a mental illness. Without the intention of sharing such thoughts, you still feel this intrinsic need to justify your experience to the oblivious world around you. But how can you explain something so complex and visceral, yet simultaneously fleeting and elusive? Sometimes it's akin to being trapped underwater, surrounded by dozens of piranhas. Bystanders watch safely from land, offering their best advice for how you can simply rise to the surface and break free from your suffering. They always fail to see the thick layer of frozen ice above your head. They're not privy to the weights right to your ankles that keep you submerged no matter how hard you try to get your head above water to take a breath. Then there are moments when you feel like you're on fire, the kind of pain that almost feels inhuman in its severity. You want to run and scream, but you stay still. Perhaps the worst are the sudden storms that strike from within, without warning, faster than lightning, hitting deep down into your core, setting off an internal alarm for all your demons to wake up. It's those movements of panic and sheer terror when all the monsters inside you band together, chanting with rage, running circles in their pitchforks, threatening the very life they belong to, trying to convince you that there is no way you can survive that level of fear, that there is no hope in fighting against what you can't see. It is an indescribable feeling, the battle inside against your own wishes. On the other hand, they are challenged by the stereotypes and prejudice that result from misconceptions about mental illness. Several studies showed public belief towards mental illness to be correlated to drug abuse, prostitution, and criminality. Other surveys reported public response to mental illness to be less pity, and with a high percentage believing that this group doesn't deserve help. This needs to stop immediately. To all those who are suffering any kind of mental illness, you are soldiers in an invisible war very few people can even begin to comprehend. You are warriors fighting countless battles each and every day. There is nothing braver than fighting an invisible war within yourself. If you can survive these movements, when the monsters grow exponentially and the pain feel insurmountable and the fear is more real than your own reflection, you can win. You will win.
Technology has much to contribute to the present lifestyle of ours. The adaptive practices of keeping ourselves connected with the social media have their own charm. We, as an individual, feel much closer and connected to our far as well as near friends through these social media. Sometimes the list of our acquaintances on social media stretches to even those who have never been introduced to us in the practical world. This zest of having virtual friends has its own pros. We feel more comfortable and free with a person who has not any prejudgment for us. This makes us vulnerable to rely more on them in sharing our deepest secrets sometimes. With every good thing, there comes a loss. And with the increase in networking, people are more prone to be a victim of cyberbullying. 8 out of 10 cyberbullying cases are registered in every 5 minutes. This easily depicts the high rate of increase of cyberbullying cases in today's time. To know more about it, we should first get a fair idea of what is cyberbullying and what are activities or acts fall under this category. As the name suggests, it is a sort of bullying or harassment that is done through electronic means. Teenagers are the most prone individuals to face this type of bullying. It is because they are tended to be active more on social media on different platforms as compared to any other age group. Incidents such as threats, rumors are noticed to be a part of cyberbullying. To make the situation more intense, it has been seen that unwanted messages are spread and posted on digital media to harass the victim. This could be done with the help of SMS, mails, MMS, images, and many more. However, with the increase in awareness, people are becoming more cautious on social media and are using preventing measures to avoid such situations. But still, the evils of cyberbullying are expanding its roots and are entitled to do the damage to a great extent. If we talk about legal actions that are taken against any such incidents, then we have a list of strict punishments that are strictly executed in case of any case registered. But apart from punishments, we as a responsible citizen should be strong enough to prevent such instances to occur. Thank you.
Discussion starts with some of the questions, and I would really love to have a talk about them. And these questions, I suppose, will reveal the topic of my discussion. Starting from the first question, can you escape these insatiable monsters of the universe? Does time stop out there? Is gravity too high there? Well, by these questions and the given key points in the question, it is clear that we will be discussing about the menacing, the undisclosed, and the mysterious, the black holes. A black hole is a region of space-time where gravity is so strong that nothing, no particles or even electromagnetic radiation such as light can escape from it. The theory of general relativity predicts that a sufficiently compact mass can deform space-time to form a black hole. The boundary of no escape is called the event horizon. Although it has an enormous effect on the fate and circumstances of an object crossing it, according to general relativity, it has no locally detectable features. In many ways, a black hole acts like an ideal black body. as it reflects no light. Moreover, quantum field theory in curved spacetime predicts that event horizons emit Hawking radiation with the same spectrum as a black body of a temperature inversely proportional to its mass. This temperature is on the order of billions of a Kelvin for black holes of stellar mass, making it essentially impossible to observe directly. Black holes of stellar mass form when very massive stars collapse at the end of their life cycle. After a black hole has formed, it can continue to grow by absorbing mass from its surroundings. By observing other stars and merging with other black holes, supermassive black holes of millions of solar masses may form. As of 2021, the nearest known body thought to be a black hole is around 1,500 light years away. Though only a couple dozen black holes have been found so far in the Milky Way, there are thought to be hundreds of millions, most of which are solitary and do not cause emission of radiation, so would only be detectable by gravitational lensing. Catherine Lucy Bowman is an American engineer and computer scientist working in the field of computer imagery. She led the development of an algorithm for imaging black holes known as continuous high-resolution image reconstructing using patch priors. Black holes are full of wonders and mysteries. They are also somewhat interesting with their characteristic features. Still, scientists continuously research about these amazing space creatures. There are many conclusions to everything, but there may not be any conclusion to a black hole. Thank you.
Human trafficking consists of transporting, transferring, harboring, and receiving of persons by using means like force and threat. The ultimate purpose of these acts and means is to use these individuals for the purpose of exploitation. The exploitation of these persons takes various extremely degrading forms like prostitution, organ trade, sexual exploitation, forced labor, and slavery. Although the problem exists in all parts of the world. Trafficking in human being is prohibited under the Constitution of India under Article 23(1). It was well said by Kevin Wells that slavery is not a horror safely confined to the past. It continues to exist throughout the world, even in developed countries. Across the world, slaves work and sweat and build and suffer. Every year, 30th of July is observed as the World Day Against Trafficking in Person. What we do see is that the trafficking of children is becoming an income revenue stream for organized crime, for gangs, so where they would typically be selling guns and drugs. They are now turning to the selling of children. In 2016, the National Crime Record Bureau estimated that 33,855 people in India have been victims of kidnapping for the purpose of marriage. Half of these percentage consisted of individuals under 18 years of age. The main purpose of human trafficking are mass displacement, conflict, puberty, lack of access to education and job opportunities, violence, and harmful social norms like child marriage. It is not only the government who is responsible for stopping human trafficking, but the human also, because life is the gift of our Creator and it should never be forsaken.
Human trafficking should be stopped as everyone has a right of peaceful coexistence, the basic personal freedom, the elevation of suffering, and the opportunity to lead a productive life. Thank you.
Beauty is the beast. There are multiple factors that affect the beauty standards in the world today, which involve women and men and the third gender individuals trying new trends to be socially accepted. The purchasing decisions of millennials are influenced majorly by social media. 72% of millennials procure beauty products based on Instagram posts and other social networks. Makeup consists of the application of cosmetic products to beautify or change the way one looks either artistically or to conceal flaws. Jang Sun and Hei Jin investigated 240 teenage males' preferences for makeup use. Results indicated that their appearance was one of the major reasons for their social success. The male respondents, who were young, unmarried, and city residents, had an overall positive perception about cosmetics. With bloggers constantly advertising on social media, cosmetic products have gained popularity. The image on social media sites are idealized and unreal due to digital alteration, thereby setting high expectations from individuals in society. Imperfections are removed by airbrushing and using other digitized apps to whiten teeth, slim waist, and reduce sizes in order to be accepted as beauty ideals. These techniques may further lead to negative consequences of increased body dissatisfaction, body modification, and low self esteem issues. Unrealistic images of femininity, beauty, success, and body shape promoted through social media images are associated with development of eating disorders and body dissatisfaction disorders. Filters and beauty apps represent another area in which social media has a major influence. Beauty apps encourages women to see and surveil themselves within pedagogy of defect. They include filters and modification apps, surgery tryout apps, and aesthetic benchmarking apps which help individuals visualize how they will look after certain changes such as teeth whitening, eye bag removal, and also whether the individual looks young or old. Body modification refers to the deliberate or permanent altering of an individual's human anatomy or appearance. They involve two aspects: the processes that modify form or contours of the body, such as metabolic manipulation, cosmetic surgeries and procedures, genital surgery and sex reassignment surgery, restriction or compression, abrasion, elongation, partial or full removal of body parts, implantation of foreign objects and prosthetics, and processes that mark the surface of the body, such as tattooing, piercing, tanning, bleaching, sacrification, branding, and hair removal. Young women and teenage girls following fitness boards on Pinterest were more likely to have intentions to engage in extreme crash dieting or extreme exercising as a result of social comparison, leading them to feeling of inadequacy and body dissatisfaction. Social networking sites such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other networking sites have the potential to influence positive beliefs and attitudes in individuals. The online platform has given many individuals a feeling of a sense belonging. Men and women are obsessed with images on social media portals and often search for aesthetic body types which are not similar to their own body. Instagram and Facebook often have stories of individuals who have fought hard to change beauty standards through sheer dedication and hard work, be it exercising, eating healthy, or building self esteem and body acceptance through support groups and communities found online. Blocking body shamers can help reinforce confidence in men and women globally. Promoting videos on life struggles with weight motivate others to believe in never giving up and taking charge of their lives. Today, social media includes individuals of different race, gender, ethnicity, and sexual orientation, thereby focusing more on breaking stereotypes and building communities to support each other.
Good morning, everyone. This is Riya Saha, and I am here to speak on the topic organ donation. Organ donation is a gift of life. Organ Donation Day is observed every year on 13th of August. Due to lack of awareness, there are myths and fears in people's mind about organ donation. The aim of this day is to motivate normal human beings to pledge to donate organs after death and to spread awareness about the importance of organ donation. Organ donation is donating a donor's organs like heart, liver, kidneys, intestines, lungs, and pancreas after the donor dies for the purpose of transplanting them into another person who is in need of an organ. According to a survey in India, every year about 500,000 people die because of non-availability of organs. 200,000 people die due to liver disease and 50,000 organ donor, irrespective of their age, caste, religion, community, etc. There is no defined age for donating organs. The decision to donate organs is based on strict medical criteria, not age. Tissues such as cornea, heart valve, skin, and bone can be donated in case of natural death, but vital organs such as hearts, liver, kidneys, intestines, lungs, and pancreas can be donated only in case of brain death. Having a serious condition like actively spreading cancer, HIV, diabetes, kidney disease, or heart disease can prevent you from donating as a living donor. The ministry had launched the 6th World and first ever Indian Organ Donation Day and Organ Donation Congress 2010 in New Delhi. So, we should all take part in donating organs and not hesitate from it. Thank you.
When matter is compressed beyond a certain density, a black hole is created. It is called black because no light can escape from it. Some black holes are the tombstones of what were once massive stars. An enormous black hole is thought to look at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Structure of a black hole. All the mass of a black hole is concentrated into a point at its center called singularity. Gravity surrounding the singularity is so strong, you would have to travel faster than light to escape. This creates a spherical zone surrounding the singularity called the event horizon, from which nothing can escape. What happens inside a black hole? The gravity of a black hole creates enormous tidal forces. Any object approaching the singularity would be simultaneously stretched in one direction and compressed in the other, a process scientists call spaghettification. Black hole types. In theory, a black hole of any size could exist. A black hole with the mass of our Sun would be 3.7 miles in diameter. In practice, the death of a star like the Sun does not compress the material enough to form a black hole. Stars with about 2 times the Sun's mass or more forms a black hole. Astronomers recognize 2 major types: supermassive and stellar mass. Supermassive black holes can have billions of times our Sun's mass. Matter drawn towards a supermassive black hole is compressed, heats up, and may be blasted out into jets thousands of light years away. Stellar mass black holes have the mass of several sun-sized stars. They form when a dying star explodes into a supernova, then collapses under its own gravity. Where are they found? Stellar mass black holes are scattered throughout the galaxy. A supermassive black hole lies at the core of many galaxies, including our own. The Milky Way is called Sagittarius A star, and it is seen from Earth in the constellation Sagittarius. The supermassive black hole is about 26,000 light years away and has a mass of at least 4 million times the mass of our Sun. What would it look like? The powerful gravity of a black hole distorts light, space, and time. One effect is gravitational lensing. A black hole between us and a distant galaxy will bend the rays of light, causing our view of the galaxy to be warped. We have yet to photograph a black hole in detail, but simulations suggest that the supermassive black hole at the Milky Way center might appear to be a distorted crescent. Thank you for watching this video.
A very good morning to all of you present here. I, Sachi Kaina, student of class 11 science stream, is here to acknowledge you all to today's headlines. I'm here to give you all the important information on Neeraj Chopra, only on sjcnews.com.
I will update you about the amazing transformation of Neeraj Chopra from a chubby kid to superstardom. Neeraj Chopra emerged as India's first track and field Olympic gold medalist in the Tokyo Olympics 2021 by winning the men's javelin competition. A plump kid took athletics to lose weight, and ended up being India's first track and field Olympic gold medalist. Sounds like a fairy tale? That's Neeraj Chopra's life actually. All of 23 and a superstar. Or dare one say, a masiha that Indian athletics had been waiting for over a century. On the day of the event, with his javelin in hand, Chopra was nothing short of a rock star at Tokyo's Olympic Stadium, which should have been full to capacity to watch his genius unfold, but had just a handful of officials and coaches to cheer him on, thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. He got everyone to cheer for him, like he always does, and didn't even need to throw a personal best of 88.07 meter. The gold was sealed with the 87.58 meter throw, which was just his second of the final round. His other achievements include gold medals in 2018 Commonwealth Games and the Asian Games, and the top finish in the 2017 Championships. He is also a 2018 Arjuna awardee. His infectious smile doesn't give it away, but Chopra had his brushes with low phases too. He underwent an arthroscopic surgery on the elbow of his right throwing arm in 2019, which kept him out of action for nearly a year, but he came back stronger. In pursuit of excellence, it was a roller coaster ride for the tall, springy and humble athlete after being pulled into sports by his senior javelin thrower, Javed Chaudhary, from a nearby village in 2011. At this point came the financial issues, as Chopra needed accommodation, better equipment, a kit, and better diet to go up to the next level. It was a tough decision for the joint family, which owns less than 10 acres of land. But they pulled through, and by 2015, Chopra had joined the national took part in the World Youth Championships in Ukraine but returned without any medal. Next year, he won a silver in the Youth Olympics qualification in Bangkok, his first international medal. Chopra's first medal in National Senior Championship came in July 2015 during the interstate event in Chennai with a throw of 77.33 meter. A few months later, he won gold in the National Open Championships in Kolkata. The year 2016 was a breakthrough one for Chopra. After crossing the 80-meter mark at the fag end of 2015, Chopra won the South Asian Games in Guwahati in February 2016 with a throw of 82.23 meter. A few months later, under the guidance of late Australian coach Gary Calvert, Chopra created history during the World Junior Championships and announced the arrival of a truly world-class javelin thrower. There is still a wall hanging in the room of Chopra's ancestral home which features an oft-repeated motivational quote: "A single idea can light up your life." The Chopra family's single idea to let him pursue javelin throw at the Tokyo's Olympic 2021 lit up the country in its golden glow.
Thanks for watching SJCnews.com. We will come again with new updates. Till then, take care of yourself, your family, your society and the nation at large. Thank you.
It is rightly said that education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world by Nelson Mandela. Education is the passport to the future, but tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today by Malcolm X. Live as if we were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever by Mahatma Gandhi. Education is very necessary for each and every one. Because of the education, we gain knowledge and respect in society. Nowadays, every nation is taking steps to make its people educated. We can say that education system of India is well developed comparing to the past days. In 1947, there were 18 universities and 496 colleges. But present, there are more than 800 universities and 39,000 colleges. A proper system of education system in a country is very important to shape a better society. Our education system has gone to many changes from Gurukul education system to modern education system. As we very well know that every coin has two sides. Just in the same way, our education system also has some merits and demerits. Its advantages are our education policies are being designed and redesigned every year just to have a larger number of kids get educated. There are many marvelous schemes which our government provide us. For instance, midday meal, or free education for girls, or distributing cycles and much more. The main motto of these schemes were to make should be aware of. E-learning is a very great revolution for the Indian education system, which plays a vital role in increasing the knowledge of the student. It helps us to know about our culture and ethics and many more. The disadvantages are the Indian education system focuses on rat learning. It judges students on the basis of their academic performance and not on their overall performance. While theoretical understanding of any subject is important, it does not play a major role when it comes to implementing the ideas in the real world. In India, it is expected from most students that they should choose science stream or to go in the field of engineering or medical. Here, students are not motivated for choosing other fields such as sports, games, designing, etc. In India, every student goes through academic pressure. Though India has a lot of experienced teachers, but schools in rural areas still face scarcity when it comes to quality of education. At last, I would like to conclude that education is mandatory for everyone. Indian education provides government schools to the people who can afford the fees. It is working for spreading literacy in the country and making people more civilized, and the literacy rate in India has increased a lot. In Bihar, girls are being made more and more motivated to study and do job in order to secure their lives. The government are also trying their best to spread literacy. Currently, we have heard that Bihar CM announces that it's 3% reservation for girls in engineering and medical field. Whatever be the situation, the government is still trying to achieve the 100% literacy rate. And the silver lining is that there are some teachers who want to change the system of education. Thus, it is necessary for people.
Is so hard. Why is it? Why is it that making tanks is so easy, but building schools is so hard? One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Education
कि शिक्षा का मतलब ये नहीं कि शिक्षा प्राप्त करके अच्छी नौकरी करे, बल्कि शिक्षा का उद्देश्य आपको ज्ञान प्रदान करना है जिससे आप किसी भी क्षेत्र में उन्नति कर सके। इसलिए दोस्तों, जब तक शिक्षा का मतलब नौकरी पाना होगा, तब तक समाज में नौकरी पैदा होंगे, मालिक नहीं। हमारे जीवन में शिक्षित होना बहुत जरूरी है। इससे हमारा देश आगे बढ़ेगा, समाज आगे बढ़ेगा। इसलिए दोस्तों, पढ़ेगा इंडिया तभी बढ़ेगा इंडिया।
Concrete forests. As seen in the evolutionary timeline, plant life is very important for the well-being of our ecosystem. As cities expand, developers switch out trees and plants for highways and skyscrapers. There are no trees. Everywhere we look, there are new multi-complexes and malls coming up. All the trees have been chopped off. Everywhere we look, there are just concrete and cement. We have turned the green into grey. Even the climate has changed on account of the cement. The weather has become much hotter than before. It seems that we are connected to social media, but we are much more disconnected than ever before. With less person-to-person interaction, our life has become very unhappy. The world has become a sad, lonely, and miserable place. Everyone wants to live in a place where there is no noise, where water is crystal clear, where there is fresh air to breathe, where there is peace and harmony, where space goes beyond our imagination. But these concrete forests have taken over the world, and we cannot see the greenery we want to look for. And we have been trapped in a place which we cannot escape.
Colorism. Colorism occurs when some people are discriminated against more than others of the same race simply due to the shade of their skin. It is very prevalent in India and it's a gendered phenomenon affecting Indian women more than men. Discrimination based on skin color was most visible in British India, where skin color served as a signal of high status for the foreign British, more actively promoted the idea. Thus, those individuals with a lighter skin color enjoyed more privileges from the British, were considered to have a more affluent status and gained preference in education and employment. Darker skinned individuals were socially and economically disadvantaged. Poverty and colorism in India go hand in hand because the caste system still affects socio-economic status. People with darker skin tend to be lower in socio-economic status as well. A basic link between poverty and colorism in India is that impoverished people are not able to take care of their appearance and diet. Though they don't have access to skin lightening products, they are seen as dirty and dark. Over time, these connotations begin to blur, and socioeconomic status and skin tone become connected to social and financial status. In 2009, Emmanuel started a campaign called Dark is Beautiful to combat colorism in India. Over the years, while counseling girls, she says she realized how deeply hurt Indian women have been by media messages about skin color. Anti-blackness and anti-darkness together ultimately create discriminatory systems that disenfranchise dark-skinned people in India and across South Asia. However, protests over summer of 2020 in the US have prompted calls for equity and justice around the world, especially in India. In particular, there has been a new wave of conversation surrounding colorism in India and how to fight it. Many Indians are asking themselves and their family members how they can continue to support Black Lives Matter while also perpetuating harmful colorism within their own communities. No matter the level of activism, combating colorism in India needs the work of all of society to make India equitable for all Indians regardless of skin color. Fighting colorism in India also helps fight poverty and vice versa. Ultimately, colorism in India shows us that the fight for poverty is not just a fight for living wages, but a fight for global human rights. Thank you.
Pollution, the term with which every person is familiar with, irrespective of his or her age. Hearing this term, which words strike your mind first? To me, pollution relates to two things. Firstly, yes, as we all know and are well aware of, is the environmental pollution, which can be helped if we fellow human beings start being serious in taking care of our mother nature. And secondly, it also relates to pollution in the hearts and minds of people, which cannot be helped. However, today, the topic which I would be covering is the former one, the one which we pretend to give attention the most, and in the end, we turn a blind eye to it. However, the question now arises, what exactly is pollution? Though we are very well acquainted with it, we still don't fear the consequences and impact it has on earth. To put into simpler terms, we can say pollution is caused by pollutants and by countless human activities that contaminates our nature and disrupts the harmony of the ecosystem. It causes adverse changes, as pollution can cause harm not only to human beings but also to every living thing sharing a symbiotic relation with humans. We are all well versed with the different forms in which pollution exists, be it in the form of air, light, noise, visual, plastic, soil, radioactive, or even water pollution. However, ever given the thought who to blame for all this pollution? It's you, the happy smiling you, who waves back from the mirror when you look at it. Did we ever think before throwing away the trash mindlessly that one day it would pile up and turn something so monstrous which could endanger scores of animals' life? Did we ever take a moment to think before using vehicles even for covering short distances? Did we ever look back and think the stuff we threw in the ponds and lakes distances? Did we ever look back and think the stuff we threw in the ponds and lakes might harm the aquatic life? Did we ever actually wish to help Mother Nature? Well, we all partly well know the answers to these questions, don't we? Now, the only thing we can do is plant trees as they can help us reprimand the damage we did. And another thing we can do is change our lifestyle and be mindful about nature, not in just words, but actions too.
I would like to conclude by saying that destruction is a man's will. Prevention is also a man's will, but it is up to a man's choice to choose between destruction and prevention. Thank you.
Why am I being nailed to death by the law abiding Minneapolis police? Just because I belong to a different race? Just because my skin color is different than yours? But my brutal death will become the cause of the largest uprising in modern American history. These must have been the thoughts of George Floyd, who was murdered by Minneapolis police on May 25, 2020. And yes, it sparked flame of inspiration and revolution amongst international protesters to fight for what stands right. If we trace down the chronicle of history, the evil practice of discriminating people on the basis of their race has been a global issue since time immemorial. Between 1941 and 1945, Nazi Germany and its collaborations murdered some 6 million Jews across German-occupied Europe. This massive-scale slaughter was called Holocaust. The only reason for the same was that Hitler belonged to the Aryan race and followed Aryan supremacy theory. He looked down on other races and scorned them. Apartheid was the name of the policy that governed relations between the white minority and the non-white majority of South Africa. The term apartheid was first used in 1948 to describe the racial segregation policies embraced by white government. But every coin has two sides. If evil exists in universe, goodness prevails for good. There are many people who comprehended the importance to eradicate this social evil. Anti-racist movements like civil rights movement, the anti-apartheid movement, and Black Lives Matter are small yet precious steps taken towards the abolishment of this gruesome practice. Many great authors have also stood up for anti-racism.
To conclude this, I must say, we all should broaden our mindset and open our heart to every human being equally, be it a black or a white. If people around us are following this evil dogma, then we must join our hands and liberate those who are affected by breaking the shackles of stereotypical thinking. So, let's intertwine our hands and join our hearts. Then let's connect our souls and fasten our pace together for eternity. For racism is a pandemic too.
Feminism is a complex set of ideologies and theories that at its core seeks to achieve equal social, political and economic rights for women and men. Feminism refers to a diverse variety of beliefs, ideas, movements and agendas for action. It refers to any actions, specially organized, that promote changes in society to end patterns that have disadvantaged women. The goal of feminism is to create non-discrimination, which is essential for creating equality, to ensure that no one is denied their rights due to factors such as race, gender, language, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, etc. Feminism seeks to achieve equal treatment and opportunity for women and men in order to achieve similar opportunities across different fields of work and culture and equal respect in a variety of roles. Feminist theorists often explore the concepts with regard to which of women's experiences are taken as normative. Do women of different races, class, age group, etc. experience inequality in significantly different ways, or is the common experience as women more important? Feminist ideology considers in which ways culture can and should be different between genders. Feminist ideals and beliefs focus on what culture is like for women as compared to what the world is like for men. The feminist assumption is that women are not treated equally to men, and as a result,
Women are disadvantaged in comparison to men. Thank you.
In this video, I will tell you the importance of reading. Of all the skills you will ever learn, growing up, none are more important than the ability to read. Each book that you read is an opportunity to learn something new. You can expand your vocabulary, train your brain, increase wellness, lower stress, discover something new about yourself. We are in an age that is overflowing with new information. While it can be easy to watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast, reading still takes the cake when it comes to comprehension and increasing your education. You're expected to manage your WhatsApp messages, check your emails and internet with your colleagues all at the same time. Juggling lax reduces focus and productivity, but when you read a book, all your attention is focused. The importance of reading in our digital age cannot be overstated. It is perhaps the only way left to improve focus and attention. Reading is a constant exercise in humility. The more you read, the more you realize how much you haven't. That reminds you of how much further you still need to go. Each book reminds you of how limited your knowledge is. Readers are friendlier and more accepting of others. They are always helpful as they know that they too are still work in progress. The beauty of books is beyond comparison. Today's modern and technological advanced world, it is still highly essential to read a book. The beauty of language, the interest in the story, is so much more refreshing to our minds and souls than the texts and chat messages we get through a screen. So, the next time someone scorns at you for being a bookworm, you may confidently say these lines of George R. R. Martin, where he says, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies, and a man who has never read lives only one." Thank you.
The disempowering question deliberately often uses the term girl to suggest that the female in question is actually a child, whatever her calendar age. It becomes an easy, cheap way to shame women by boys. The problem is that girls are asking for it the way they dress. The line of comment should also be included with the second clause that the real problem is how boys act. The length of a woman's skirt or the choice to wear jeans can never be seen as a measure of worth nor indicate a form of consent. Such is convenient for boys to excuse any act of aggression against a female person. Such aggression is even more legally unacceptable when accompanied by violence. This kind of sexually violent crimes are felonies. Rape and sexual abuse can happen to anyone at any time in any situation. It does not matter if the women are wearing a burqa, either a skirt or a jeans. Society should know by now that this is a crime driven by a need for a power, not by a passion nor sexual desire. If the only thing we care about is how women dress, much more needs to be done in society. It is not that women should change their dressing style, but that everyone should be taught how to respect each other. If the rape only happened because of women's clothes, what about infant rape or means being sexually abused? Clearly, there is no point in policing skirt lengths of advising young women not to go to certain place or to protect their drinks instead of focusing on compelling rapists not to rape. It is not only men who blame girls for their dresses fashion. Too often, women blame each other about who dresses how. Adolescent girls should be empowered to ensure they stop blaming themselves and one another for sexual abuse or exploitation. These girls should be given the tools to call out unlawful situations. The government should make sure that school teach students about sexuality and reproduction in a way that speaks to adolescent girls and boys' needs and doubts. Further, justice should be speedily done.
My mother is a housewife. This is how she spends a typical day in her life. She gets up at 5 am while the rest of the family are still asleep. She sets about cooking our breakfast at about 5:30. She begins to wake up the school-going ones among us. As one by one we emerge from the bathroom, she hands us our school uniforms all washed and ironed. The younger ones are even combed and dressed by her. The school buses begin to arrive at 6 am, and by 7 am, the last one of us has left for school. By this time, our father and our elder brothers and sisters who go out to work have all got up and washed themselves. They all join mother at breakfast. The breakfast over, she puts on the fire, the cauldron for boiling the day's washing, while the linen is getting ready for washing. She sweeps the floor, makes our beds, and wakes up our brothers and sisters who are not old enough to go to school or who go to afternoon school. By 8:30 am, all working members of the family have left for their places of work. My mother, after washing, dressing, and feeding the younger children, begins to wash the clothes. Having washed and rinsed them carefully, she hangs them on line at the back of the house. It is already 10:30 am now. She prepares some refreshments for the children and for herself. When these have been served, she begins to cook the afternoon meal for the family. It must be ready by 1 pm when the office workers begin to arrive for a quick meal before returning to work by 2:15 pm. The last one of us does not return from school until well past 2:30. Thus, our mother is not free to rest up to 3 pm. After a short rest or nap, she is on her feet again by 4 pm. The morning washing has already been collected and she now irons it. Meanwhile, directed by her, we bathe and dress ourselves for the evening and do our homework. When the clothes have been washed, she, assisted by my sisters, cook dinner for the family and sends us boys out to play some games. By the time we return, the dinner is ready. It is served and eaten at 7 pm. Failing this, she watches some of her favorite television programs up to 8 pm. After this, while we do our homework, she stitches our uniforms if we have torn them and mends our buttons if they have come off by 10 pm. She must go to bed or next morning she may not be able to get up in time. Her life may appear hard and monotonous to others, but she enjoys every moment of it. She spends it in the service of us whom she loves.
Violence against women in India is actually more present than it may appear at first glance, as many expressions of violence are not considered crimes or may otherwise go unreported or undocumented due to certain Indian cultural values and beliefs. These reasons all contribute to India's gender inequality index rating of 0.524 in 2017, putting it in the bottom 20% of ranked countries for that year. According to the National Crime Record Bureau of India, recorded incidents of crime against women increased 6.4% during 2012, and a crime against women is committed every 3 minutes. According to the National Crime Record Bureau, in 2011, there were greater than 2,28,650 recorded incidents of crime against women, while in 2015 there were over 3 lakhs recorded incidents, a 44% increase. One of the women living in India, 7.5 live in West Bengal, where 12.7% of the total recorded crime against women occurs. And Andhra Pradesh is home to 7.3% of India's female
population and accounts for 11.5% of the total recorded crimes against women. 65% of Indian men believe women should tolerate violence in order to keep the family together, and women sometimes deserve to be beaten. In January 2011, the International Men and Gender Equality Survey reported that 24% of Indian men has committed sexual violence at some point during their lives. Exact statistics on the extent case occurrence are very difficult to obtain as a large number of cases go unreported. This is due to in large part to the threat of residue or shame on the part of the potential reporter, as well as immense pressure not to damage the family's honor. For similar reason, a law enforcement officers are more motivated to accept offers of babies from the family of the accused, or perhaps in fear of more grave consequences such as honor killings. To combat violence and other abuses against women, Telangana police have established SHE team to focus on the safety of women.
Wildfire. Wildfire, also called bushfire, vegetation fire, or forest fire, it can be described as large, uncontrolled, and non prescribed infernos in a natural setting, such as a forest, grassland, brushland, or tundra. There are three conditions that need to be present in order for a wildfire to occur: fuel, oxygen, and heat source called the fire triangle. Forest fires occur by a number of natural causes but are mainly triggered by human activities. Emerging studies link climate change to rising instances of fires globally. Most fires are man made, sometimes deliberately caused. For example, in Odisha, which saw a major fire last month in Simply Pal forest, villagers are known to set dry leaves to fire in order to collect mahua flowers which go into the preparation of a local drink. In the last few days, we saw how heat wave continues to sweep across western United States. Over 30 million people were under heat. The first round of heat comes just days after records toppled across Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia, killing scores of people. California's driest region, the Death Valley, experienced a temperature of 54.4 degrees Celsius, one of the hottest temperatures ever recorded on the globe. Firefighters battled a surging wildfire in Northern California under blazing temperatures. The bootleg fire in Oregon is believed to be blamed for the haze that descended on the East Coast, which is the largest burning wildfire in the country. Recently, the forest fire hit the planet's coldest winter city, Siberia, where over 1.5 million hectares of land have been charred. Forest fire is a natural phenomenon, essential for the working of a forest. But over the last few years, they have been very frequent due to increasing global warming and greenhouse emission. As per 2020-21 annual report, Western Maharashtra, Southern Chhattisgarh and areas of Telangana are turning into extremely prone forest fire hotspots. Since 2004, the FSI, Forest Survey of India, developed the Forest Fire Alert System to monitor forest fires in real time. National Action Plan on Forest Fires 2018 and Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme has also been started to mitigate wildfires. These fires have caused a lot of destruction and loss of lives. So it's high time to take necessary steps like cutting down the global greenhouse emission and reducing pollution.
What is infinity?
Infinity.
Infinity. That's really cool.
Infinity to me is instrumental. Every single note that I choose to play. I could have played the other note or the note between the notes, like the blues.
For me, infinity would be words, amalgamation of words. Words that were written 1,000 years ago and words that were written yesterday. It's raining outside. For me, it's those raindrops falling on the window pane. It's the distance between two lovers longing to meet each other. The distance between a soldier and his family, a refugee and his home. I think for me, it's the distance between your stars and my stars.
Infinity is the true nature of reality. And well, we can't really put a name to infinity because it certainly limits it. Infinity itself consists of infinite infinities. There could be as many infinities as there are people in the world, and who knows, even more. Different philosophers and scientists have defined infinity in their own discrete ways. So, let's have a look at a few conjectures. The 15th century theologian and philosopher Nicholas of Cusa mentions infinity in the same breath as God. He said, and I quote, "God is the circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is therefore nowhere. Nothing is outside of God." Unquote. Physicists perceive infinities as a signal that something is wrong with their theories. They signal a crisis. Nonetheless, physicists love catastrophes. The revered theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking proved the existence of singularity, a point of infinite density in black hole. The mathematical theory to infinity is the continuum hypothesis. It says that there's some infinity sandwiched in between the continuous infinity and the countable infinity. In 1878, George Cantor advanced the theory by establishing the fact that we can neither prove it true nor false. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have a solution. It is independent of the axioms that we take of mathematics. So we see, theories have exponentially been added to the concept of infinity. But wait, why do we need to dive so deep? Let's have a look around and we'll find ourselves flanked with infinities. The speckles on your curtain, the shimmers on your hairband, the letters in your book. But these examples are more inclined towards being innumerable rather than infinite. And only here we encounter the difference between innumerable, and infinite. Infinity could be anything and everything, let alone be something that seems to be or looks like infinity. The infinite shades blended up to form the tint of your iris, the rays of sun which consists of infinite pygmy dust particles, and the light which is composed of infinite nanoscopic photons, which falls on the infinite pores of your skin, pierces through and gets embodied to the infinite cells of your body. The infinite vibrations traveling in air. Everything that surrounds us is an infinity. And why just these? Even every intangible asset is an infinity. Just as we have our complexities approaching infinity, their uniformities too edge near the same.
Infinity is something boundless or endless, something that neither originates nor ceases, just exists. Some thinkers believe that if we introduce real infinities into the universe, we'll probably run into paradoxes. So, does it mean that the infinities we are familiar with are all but illusions? Probably not, because the universe itself is an infinity, and us being an infinitesimal minuscule part of it have to be an infinity itself. Nothing in this world has any kind of separate or intrinsic nature. We are all connected to the diversified infinities, which eventually add up to be the bigger infinity. Thank you.
Cruelty to animals. Cruelty to animals involve killing, harming, or injuring animals intentionally. It is also termed as animal neglect or animal abuse. Our planet Earth is a very beautiful place and home to various species. But we, humans, sometimes become very insensitive to the animals just because they cannot speak the language of humans. Animals, just like human beings, deserve a peaceful life. Animals are an important part of our ecosystem and are very useful to us. But we sometimes forget that they are also living creatures. We keep on harassing them, and these poor creatures can't even express their feelings and grief. Cruelty towards animals has become an international matter of concern, which needs to be addressed as soon as possible and should be eliminated forever. Human industries that contribute to this cruelty are textile, cosmetics, and home decoration. Animal skin and fur are used in textile industries. Animal skin, fur, horns, and teeth are used to make home decoration items. Many animals are killed for their meat also. Animals are ill treated in scientific labs where they are used for testing and experiments. They are often kept in freezing conditions or in boiling conditions. It is high time now. We should realize our mistake. Excessive animal cruelty has already degraded Earth more than we can imagine. It is still not too late. Let us together make a difference. We should raise awareness and stop these cruelties against the animals.
The LGBT community of India. We say we are the citizens of free India where we have the right to live by our choice. But is it like that? Is the society letting us be who we are or who we want to be? People of the LGBT community have got their constitutional and republic rights but are still struggling for their social acceptance. The society says homosexuality is an imported disease. These things are not in the Indian culture. So let's take a deep dive in the Indian culture. 14th century Bengal folklore tells a story of a sexual relationship between two widows. Bhakti saints of medieval India would effeminize themselves to worship Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva. Till 1800s, Indian poets like Rangeen and Insha would openly write about homosexuality in the same tone as heterosexual relationships. Until the year 1860, when Lord Macaulay introduced Section 377 in the Indian Penal Code, which said homosexuality is a crime against the order of nature. So, is homosexuality an imported disease or homophobia? Well, luckily on 6 September 2018, the Supreme Court of India legalized homosexual activities, but the society still sees it as a crime. Homosexual people are given forced conversion therapy by their family, or even if their family accepts them, they are still bullied socially.
In spite of a few million years of evolution, we humans still don't have fins or even gills. What a shame. Yet, that hasn't stopped men and women throughout history from wanting to learn how to breathe underwater. It all started on a Tuesday back in 332 BC when Alexander the Great himself went underwater, able to breathe with the use of history's first diving bell. That certainly took a lot of courage in those days, but since fortune favors the brave, Alexander the Great was able to explore the Mediterranean Sea seabed at a depth of 10 meters without any trouble at all. Fortunately, for the rest of us, we have come a long way over the last few centuries, thanks to the several key technical developments. The Andaman Islands offer one of the best underwater experience of the rich marine life and natural aquarium of the sea, a larger part of which still remains unexplored. On recommendation, I had chosen to dive at Havelock Island, which offers around 30 diving points close to the island. Dive Center briefed me about the gears, their purpose, and the hand gestures used during underwater communication. He also explained that the pressure in the deep sea makes the ear pop like it does when you are flying and what to do when that happens. He clearly instructed me on the emergency signals and the measure to take when the water enters my mask or the breathing tube. Yes, that can happen. The first tip was uncomfortable, the depth was unfathomable, and the surrounding was unfamiliar. I immediately signaled a thumbs up asking him to bring me to the surface. There was a moment of panic. I grasped for air. My chest felt heavy and under pressure. I could have hardly released my breath when I saw nobody over the surface. My fellow diver was already busy exploring the sea. Let go of the fear, I thought. All this while, I hadn't noticed what was happening around me. With my eyes wide open out of excitement, I looked around to see dozens of fluorescent fish swimming with such grace and elegance that I let them be. They were undeterred by the aliens that would visit them every now and then to say hello.
Childhood is the best part of life. It is full of innocence and joy. It is the part of life when we are free from all the responsibilities. In some scenario, this is not the case. Some children are burdened by the responsibilities of their child labor is the act of employing children in the early age. It has become a social issue. Main reason for the existence of child labor is poverty. Parents below poverty line are not able to fulfill the basic needs of their family, and so children are forced to work. Child labor is a serious problem in developing countries. We often see young boys and girls working in tea stalls, roadside restaurants, meat shops, grocery shops, small industries, and private households. Anyone below the age of 14 is considered to be a child labor. The wage given to these children are much less compared to the wages of adult laborers. These children are also made to work for longer hours. Employing little boys and girls enables the employer not only to save money but also to avoid labor unrest and other work-related demands. Laws in most countries forbid the practice of employing child laborers. The abolition of child labor will only be possible.
Hello, my intention behind this video is to throw light on the ugly truth of the Indian society regarding the complexion of a woman or a person in general. This is not a new topic, nor am I the first person to speak on the matter, but unfortunately whenever someone raises this issue, everybody agrees for the time being and then goes back to having the same old sick mentality of theirs. We refer to India as mother, and our religious texts and scriptures glorify women, but sadly this is not the situation of the present-day Indian women at all. Our society teaches females to have confidence to speak up when required, but then itself brings them down for things they cannot change or are not at fault at. In India, beauty is associated with fair skin, meaning that you'll be called beautiful as long as you're fair, and you'll be judged and looked down upon if you're not. Based on our geographical location, we have a hot weather for most parts of the year and receive direct rays of the sun. Therefore, Indians have a decent amount of melanin in their skin, leading to a large amount of people having brown or dark complexion. This complexion even has a term for it. Apparently, a lot of Indian women have, and I quote, wheatish skin, and it is not exactly praised here. Instead of being taught to embrace how you are and feel proud of it, they are made to feel insecure about it. Instead or being taught to improve your inner self, you are asked to put emphasis on making your outer appearance more attractive. A lot of women are subtly called out for being dark-skinned and are made to feel bad about themselves. All of this can be tolerated as long as it's strangers doing this, because we can't let ourselves get affected with people we don't even properly know. But when this racial discrimination creeps into your own family, that is when the real problem arises. When your parents and relatives make you feel conscious about your skin color and your looks and point out to you how this could cause a problem for your future marriage or finding a life partner, rather than being your rock and uplifting you. The amount of deep-rooted prejudice and lack of proper thought process can be estimated by the fact that products such as Fair and Lovely have dominated the skin industry in India with up to 70% market share. The massive success of these products clearly shows the large amount of racial discrimination prevalent in India and also the desperation of women to finally feel free from this biasness. Almost majority of men in India want fair-skinned wives, and they think being any less than that is equivalent to being ugly. An unsurprising fact is that most of these men are not exactly fair themselves. So, they expect women to not get affected by this while they judge them on their complexions as and when felt like. Quite ironic, don't you think? Well, one can totally say that India is an excellent example when it comes to double standards. I feel sorry to say that we, as a country, have failed to uphold the values and morals we keep bragging about one too many times. Finally, I just hope that women can feel happy and comfortable in their own skin instead of being insecure and embarrassed about it. And we, as a developing nation, should ensure to correct the error in our thought process and change for the better. I would like to conclude this with a liberating quote. You are not equally beautiful, but uniquely beautiful. Thank you.
Life. Life is a complicated twist of suffering, laughing, and learning, all merging to tell a great story. Life refers to an aspect of existence. This aspect processes, acts, evaluates, and evolves through growth. Life is what distinguishes human from inorganic matter. Some individuals certainly enjoy free will in life. Others, like slaves and prisoners, don't have the privilege. However, life isn't just about living independently in society. It is certainly much more than that. Hence, quality of life carries huge importance. Above all, the ultimate purpose should be to live a meaningful life. A meaningful life is one which allows us to connect with our deeper self. One important aspect of life is that it keeps going forward. This means nothing is permanent. It is said that a man is made by his belief. As he thinks, so he becomes. Therefore, one must be optimistic no matter how bad things get. This is because nothing will stay forever. Every situation, occasion, and event shall pass. This is certainly a beauty of life. Many people become very sad because of failure. However, these people certainly fail to see the bright side. The bright side is that there is a reason for every failure. Therefore, every failure builds experience. This experience is what improves the skills and efficiency of humans. Probably, a huge number of individuals complain that life is a pain. Many people believe that the word pain is a synonym for life. However, it is pain that makes us stronger. Pain is probably an excellent way of increasing mental resilience. Above all, pain enriches the mind. The uncertainty of death is what makes life so precious. No one knows the hour of one's death. This probably is the most important reason to live life to the fullest. Staying in depression or being a workaholic is an utter wastage of life. One must certainly enjoy the beautiful blessing of life before death overtakes. In conclusion, it is life
which is not something that one should take for granted. It's certainly a shame to see individuals waste away their lives. We should be very thankful for experiencing our lives. Above all, one should try to make their life more meaningful. William Shakespeare rightly said, "The web of our life is a mingled yarn, good and ill together." Thank you.
It is one of the tragedies of modern times that despite the spread of education, change in traditional beliefs, customs and manners, the condition of women remains largely unchanged. Despite the promulgation of several laws designed to enrich the lot of women, evils such as dowry continue causing havoc in the lives of parents and the young girls. Let us now analyze how and why this system took birth at all. In the earlier times of Indian society, the daughter had no share in the father's property. So, by way of dowry, the girl would get at least some portion of her share. Besides these, in those days, girls were not so educated. So, this dowry could serve the girl as a backup support system in case of any emergency after her marriage. But as time passed, the fine system degenerated into an evil custom. It became to look upon as an evil and a curse. The dowry became an all-important and a primary factor in marriage. It became necessary for the parents of the girl to give a good dowry to her whether they can afford it or not. Worse still, the married life of a girl came to depend upon dowry. Marriage became impossible in the absence of handsome dowry. Several girls whose parents could not afford a good dowry had to commit suicide as their greedy in-laws made their lives miserable. Newspapers are full of reports carrying harrowing tales of brides being burned to death or driven to hang themselves because of constant nagging by their in-laws. The practice of dowry is not only illegal but also unethical. Therefore, the conscience of society needs to be fully awakened to the evils of the dowry system so that the demand for dowry itself should lose of face in society for those who demand it. In conclusion, it can be stated that the evil of dowry can be eliminated through the combined efforts of the state, society, and the law enforcing agencies. Also, realizing that rather than money, education, self-respect, and character are more valuable to happiness and well-being, may over a time period act as a catalyst in solving this problem.
Don't forget to save the rain. Let's prevent tomorrow's pain. Hello everyone. This is Tanishq Negi from Standard 11, standing hereby in front of you to make you aware about the water scarcity in India. The Earth is known as a blue planet. We all know this fact. We are very delighted and proud to say that Earth is covered by 71% of water. But do you know that how much potable water is left for us? The Earth has an abundance of water, but unfortunately, only a small percentage of about 0.3% is usable by humans. In other words, I can say if I have a bucket full of water as 71%, potable water is only a spoon of water as 0.3%. Also, this makes water one of the scarce resources that the entire human race consumes. Apart from that, if we reduce the amount of water we daily use for various activities like agriculture, washing of vehicles, construction, etc., then we can really be able to save water for our future generations. Unfortunately, this can't be seen anywhere. Last week, when I was walking on my terrace, I noticed that my neighbor's tank was full of water and water was overflowing. Nobody even cared of that. Even I would also like to share my silly mistakes. I usually take a glass of water and drink only half of it and throw the rest of it into the sink. It is so stupid of me that I can't drink that much of water which I take. We should ask the value of water to those people who have to stand for hours in the line just to get a bucket of water. The states like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka.
This is Tarshdeep Kaur and I am going to speak a few lines on a mother. I am 16 and far till now I have always tried to describe the beauty, the innocence of my mother in words. I have tried to fill those blanks which couldn't have ever been filled because they go beyond infinity. Mothers, they are so beautiful, aren't they? Personally speaking, my mother, she is the most beautiful flower. Her twinkling eyes, her grin, and her innocence makes this world a place no less than heaven. Mothers are as sweet as an ice cream cone, full of thoughtful words that are melted across a happiness meadow. In this baffling world, everybody is trying to achieve the happiness. That happiness and miracle which is always by their side. Mothers are as busy as a bee, indulged in producing something really as sweet as honey for her family. They shed their love upon their children with infinite droplets of blessing and affection. To describe a mother would be to write about a hurricane in its perfect power, or the climbing, falling colors of a rainbow. The punishments given by her are always a joy to perform, because something as beautiful as her is hidden in them. Mothers are the backbone, the heartbeat of a child. She is the every single breath which the child takes in. Mother,
You know what? We human beings have a problem. What problem? We always expect ease from life. We have this amazing fantasy about life that this is my plan and this is how things should work. If that doesn't happen, I'll give up. Why to give up? Why to give up? My dear friends, let me tell you one thing. It's okay to cry. Everything is okay. But giving up is not an option. It should not be an option. Why? Because if you really think your life is hard, you have a bad luck, then just have a look at the people who wants to get up on his feet, but they are on wheelchair. Just think about the children who want to go to school like you, but they cannot even manage to get a piece of roti for their survival. Just think about the people living in slum areas. They don't have even a roof on their head, but they are still surviving. They are not complaining. They are not giving up. I haven't seen them complaining like you people do. Dear friends, live your life fully. Accept yourself the way you are. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Yes, I'll repeat, be kind to yourself. If you will be kind to yourself, then only you can be kind to others. Learn to smile. Congrats yourself for being alive. There are many people who haven't got the opportunity to feel today's sunshine. Thanks to God that you are not one of them. Thanks to God for this beautiful day. And always remember, keep your chin up.
One of the most serious social evils that has haunted us all the way back since life began on Earth. Yes, it is racism. What is it? It is an unfair way of treating one group of people in a way superior to the other based on skin color, religion, caste, etc. It is one of the most serious social evils and one of the biggest crimes that all of us commit in some way or the other unknowingly. It's mean, it's cruel, and it's unacceptable. Racism is not just limited to discrimination between the blacks and whites or to the Americans bringing the Africans to their lands and using them as slaves. Rather, it is much more spread out and entangled and rooted in almost all the aspects of our lives. To name a few, there is racism between the rich and poor, racism between a male and a female, between physically fit and crippled, between a fat and skinny person, or even racism between a student scoring high marks and the one scoring lower. So, you see, it is everywhere, and it is no surprise we too must have committed this at some point of our lives. But this does not mean we should give up on our struggles to stop it. And here the question arises, what can we do to stop it? The answer is that we need to take responsibility in ourselves as an individual and do not blame the government or anyone else for it. And most importantly, introspect on your behavior towards others. And it is so simple to cheer others up. It can be just a smile or a positive comment. Treat others in a way you want to be treated. Do not ignore but fight injustice and resist hatred and prejudices in every way possible. Try your best to make the world aware that it needs to fight against the web of prejudices that it has built over the years. It's not just enough to be non-racist, you need to be anti-racist. Thus, we ought to strive in harmony and unity to do away with this evil, because if we don't, then the victims are not going to remember the words of their enemies, but they will remember the silence of their friends. Thank you.